The Aquatic Adventure of the Last Human is an undersea Metroidvania developed by Swedish studio YCJY and originally released for Steam in 2016. It tells the story of a post-apocalyptic Earth which is sunk beneath the ocean, and the various life forms which have turned the skeletons of our generation's skyscrapers into their new homes. The game is very open-ended and will have players exploring a number of different zones, unlocking new abilities and defeating large bosses. Metroidvanias are in vogue right now, with a number of high-profile releases lately. The Aquatic Adventure is unconventional in that it's not a platformer, and it doesn't place a great emphasis on combat as other games do. That being said, by leaving out these elements, it manages to be one of the most genuine examples of exploration-based gameplay that you can find. As with all my videos, I'll be listing the top 3 things I like about the game, and then giving a general verdict on the type of player who might enjoy this the most. My focus isn't always going to be on raw quality, but rather, I want to see what interesting choices the developers have made, and what makes this game unique and worth your time. So the first thing that immediately struck me about this game was its frequent use of the camera zoom, and how it adds a new dimension to the 2D sprites. Most Metroidvanias keep a set distance between the camera and the character, and it leads to the game feeling a bit mechanical and flat. The Aquatic Adventure breaks free of this tradition, and just let me show you the difference. There are lots of scenes just like this one which had me entranced. The zoom emphasizes the animation and artwork so well, and takes the focus away from the player character and onto the world you're about to explore. This technique is used for a lot of other cool effects too, like making tight sections feel even more claustrophobic, or keeping the boss just out of sight so you're even more tense. I think a good Metroidvania game always needs to make the player feel like they're exploring something. It could be an unknown space, or even unknown game mechanics, but the important thing is that it needs to be information that's withheld from the player. They need a degree of uncertainty to make players wonder what's around the next corner. And you'll notice when a Metroidvania does this badly, because the second you start correctly anticipating what's coming next, you'll immediately stop feeling like you're exploring a world, and you'll start feeling like you're playing a game. I'll give you 2 examples where I think the Aquatic Adventure does uncertainty really well. The first is a small one, but I love how in the dark areas of the game it says lamp advised instead of flashlight required, and it doesn't just kick you out of the area. The other thing I like is when you enter a boss room, you never always know when you're strong enough to beat the enemy, or if you've missed a crucial power-up that would make the fight a lot easier. The bosses aren't like Zelda fights where you can't damage them without a key item, but your default weapon, the harpoon gun, isn't very effective or easy to use. This means every fight takes a lot of skill, but you can offset the requirement by going back to a different path and getting a few upgrades before you come back. Now the third thing that I really like is the contrast between the loud moments and the quiet moments of this game. So the developers have mentioned before that the game is partly inspired by Shadow of the Colossus, and I think the clearest influence is in this combination of quiet exploration and really tense boss battles. There's almost no regular enemies in the Aquatic Adventure. When you're moving from point A to point B, you're never feeling threatened or in danger, so you're free to take in the atmosphere of the game at your own pace. But this all changes when you encounter a boss. You'll need to move quickly and think really fast as well, and a lapse of concentration for just a second can lead to your death. So you have no time to think about what you're fighting or why. You can get a nice hint when the tone is about to change when you see a big empty room ahead, and you find yourself naturally preparing for yourself for action. But when it's all over, the game returns to this slow, quiet state. You have some time to think about where you want to head next, and process exactly what was the big monster you just fought. I really like how the developers were willing to play with tone, and to contrast the big moments with small ones, and I think it leads to a very interesting emotional experience. So here's my verdict. If you're burnt out a little bit on indie Metroidvanias, The Aquatic Adventure of the Last Human is still a great game to check out. It makes enough changes to the formula to feel really fresh, and it boasts some very interesting level and boss design. Where the game really shines though is in its tone. It's genuinely impressive how the graphics and the sound and the gameplay create this feeling of loneliness and curiosity and occasional adrenaline. The game is full of these incredible moments, and YCJUI have done a great job bringing their vision to life. You can pick up the Aquatic Adventure of the Last Human on Steam, Xbox One, PS4, and the Nintendo Switch. I played the Switch version, but I can imagine any platform would be a great way to give this a try. Thanks everyone for watching the first episode of Indies of Interest. I did very genuinely love this game, but I think that with so many indie games releasing nowadays, it's really good to see what interests you and what you find to be the most fascinating to play. I know that we all have not that much time in our busy lives, but I think for at least once a fortnight this year, I'm going to try and make a recommendation of a game that maybe people don't know a whole lot about, or maybe came from very interesting circumstances. And I hope that I can give just a bit more positivity to the gaming journalism scene and hopefully show people that there are some games out there that no one could have expected and are creative beyond anything that we could ever imagine. And we're all taking part in the development and the growth of this really amazing medium. So I hope you guys enjoy watching these videos and stick around, because you never know what's going to come up sometime in 2019. If you are a developer and you want to get in touch, or you want to just leave a suggestion for a game that you want to see in the future, you can reach me through my Twitter handle. And if you're interested in seeing me write about games, I do some work on this website called Digitally Downloaded, and they do some really good coverage, so hop on over there if you're interested too. Thanks again for watching. See you again.